that he noticed, she's a pretty little girl, but she was new, and everybody notices the new girl. She always looked troubled. Nobody told me anything but that. She always looked troubled. And one day she got on the bus looking troubled and dripping blood off her hand.
Now, she was bleeding or she was in contact with blood?
No, she was bleeding.
She was bleeding from like her hand or her arm or up her sleeve or something of that nature?
Like I think probably she's, walking along, swinging her hand, just a cut was bleeding and dripping down her arm and onto the ground, and I think that's what prompted the teacher to say, what's going on here? Because she went missing not long after that.
Oh, now, okay, so before we get to that, now there's another thing in the timeline I was reading here, something involving a circus sideshow attraction. How does that fit into this?
I was a gorilla girl, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
That's why I can handle this. I was a runaway. My mother was cruel to me. I had a horrible childhood, reasons I'm not going into. I ran away. That's how I supported myself one summer. I was a gorilla girl.
Okay, so you ran away at 14
And I never went unclothed one moment. If that article says that, it's a lie.
Okay, wait a second. I didn't read the article. Let's start at this. You ran away from home at 14?
Yes.
And you went to join the circus?
Well, actually, I ran away from home from Virginia, and I hitchhiked to New Orleans. And I got there, it was Mardi Gras time.
Okay.
No, I didn't actually get the job then. I went to work with a girl that I had met as just a little maid in an apartment complex she lived in. And as time went on, my life changed, and I hooked up with people in the carnival. But I only did it for like 6 weeks,
Okay.
And I went back to New Orleans, and I supported myself. I ran away from home, and there's a whole story behind that, too. I never lived at home again. My mother had 6 kids. She'd been through 3 marriages. It was a nightmare, blah, 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 blah.
Now, as the gorilla girl, what were your duties and responsibilities and as your employment as the gorilla girl?
Let me just say this. Yeah. I wasn't the gorilla.
Okay.
Actually, my job it was an optical illusion.
Okay.
An optical illusion is, back in those days, at the carnival, the way they set it up, the one I was in, the show I was in, it took a trailer that was about 15 feet long, 20 feet long, and about 10 feet wide, paint the inside of it all black. Put a piece of actually, situate the lights where they only shine at the black wall. No, away from the black wall. Anyway, you put a piece of plexiglass in a 45-degree angle in that box, and the lights will bounce off of that piece of plexiglass and out to the audience. And you have another side, because you cut the box in half. The person standing on the other side, their image, they can't be seen at all because all you can see is the lights bouncing off that glass and my image on it. So as they turn the image down on me and up on the person behind the glass, it looks like on the glass you're merging if you line them up right, If you line the eyes up right and the nose. You're old enough to remember those old black and white movies where the
Sure.
werewolf became the man again. And the man became the werewolf.
So this was an optical illusion that turned you into a gorilla.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
All right.
So once it was done, now this was a real big thing back in the day. This is the only way you could do any kind of, they didn't have films. They didn't have ways of causing this to happen for people to get all worked up about. But anyway, once they completely got rid of the image of me on the plate glass, brought up the lights on the person standing on the other side of the plate glass, then you have the whole gorilla, okay? The image of me in the bathing suit has faded away, and the gorilla's image has come up. Well, they've ballyed this, what they call in carnival ballying. They talk about this gorilla's chained inside this box. He can't get out. But he jumps away from the wall. He squeezes around the glass. He grabs a hold of the bars of the cage, and he shakes them, okay? And it's not locked. It's not electronically locked. He throws the gate open, and he runs out on stage, and everybody runs out of the tent. And that's the show.
Okay, well, that sounds like a lot of fun. Okay.
It was funny. Yeah. It was 1974. I can't tell you how many tents I emptied, okay? 72.
Now, that's one of those experiences that, it's a great memory. It's a fun lifetime, especially back in the 70s, a whole different
Oh, my
kind
gosh,
of world
it was
there.
hilarious.
Okay.
Everybody was so comical.
Now, we're at the break. We're at the 30-minute break here, so I want to take a little commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to ask you about the situation of Aundria turning up missing from the Bowman home and what their official story was and all that. So we're going to be taking a 5-minute commercial break. Now, you won't be able to hear the ad, and we won't be able to talk during the commercial break either. But we'll be back in about 5 minutes from now. We're speaking with Kathy Turkanian, and the Facebook page is called Find Aundria Bowman, Aundria M Bowman, Bowman. And I'll have a link to that, too, so people can go to it. So if you have any kind of information about this, because this is an ongoing investigation, we're trying to find out information. So if you have any kind of information, this story jogs your memory, contact this website here and send them a message. We'll be right back after these messages. And now a word from our sponsors. Did you know that 30% of all people on online dating websites and personal ads are either married or in a monogamous relationship? 30%. If you suspect that your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend may be cheating online, go to emailrevealer.com and our online infidelity investigation. You give us their email address, and we can trace it back to online personal ads, dating sites, and social networks. We can even expand the investigation and find them cheating on escort service sites or even porn sites if they're registered to porn sites and swinger sites. So check out emailrevealer.com if you suspect your spouse is cheating, and check out our online infidelity investigation. William Ramsey is a producer here at the Opperman Report, and he's just come out with a new book, Children of the Beast, Aleister Crowley's Shadow Over Humanity. Now, he just sent me a copy of this book. Oh, boy, it's about 2 inches thick. And there's a chapter on just about everybody in this book that you can imagine. The Beatles, and Jack Parsons. Everybody's in here. It's incredible. And I definitely recommend this book. There's a bunch of pictures in here, too, of all these people and different chapters and information. Anton LaVey and people I've never heard of, too. There's a whole bunch in here. JFC Fuller. I don't know who he is. But it's great stuff by our producer here, William Ramsey. So check out Children of the Beast, Aleister Crowley's Shadow Over Humanity. You can find it on Amazon.com. Or you could find it in the OppermanReport.com bookstore. We have an urgent bulletin. It seems that the group Strawman is still on the loose. It has been confirmed that Strawman are Canadian, okay, and that authorities are asking people to stay indoors, lock your doors and windows until this group can be dealt with. You could find more information about this group of Canadians, at strawmanmusic.com. You can have your ad played here. Okay, we're looking for sponsors. Okay, in fact, we desperately need sponsors right now to take this show to the next level. So you can have your ad played here, read live, like I'm doing now, so artfully. Or we can even work up a little jingle for you with some music and stuff like that and play it here. You have no idea how inexpensive it would be to have your ad played on the Opperman Report on 7 stations live Friday night and another 7 stations live on Saturday night, plus replayed every day of the week on different stations, and then archived on YouTube, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and all different kinds of podcasts, Pod This and Podbean, all different kinds of places who archive the show for us. And on those archives, your ad would play indefinitely, forever. You also get a little banner on OppermanReport.com. You get a mention on the air, you get a little interview on the air, and all kinds of fun stuff. if you sponsor Opperman Report. We have an opportunity to get this show on a major AM/FM station in California. We've been approved. So if you want to sponsor us into that, so incredibly inexpensive that your ad would be heard by the range covers 5 million people in population where your ad would be broadcast, and all these other stations would be thrown in for free. So really affordable prices to sponsor OppermanReport.com. Get a copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. You can get a copy of that book at emailrevealer.com, or you can get a copy of that book now. It's back up on Amazon.com. How to Become a Successful Private Investigator by Ed Opperman. And this book has been updated a little bit from the previous book that we had that was available to our wonderful listeners. Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. Don't forget our newest sponsor, pscoco.com, Phoebe Saad's Cocoa site, her chocolate website where you can get all kinds of silky smooth chocolates. We're here today with Kathy Chakanian, and we're talking about the story of the website called Find Aundria M Bowman. Kathy Chakanian is also known as the Gorilla Girl in a former life. Today, she's living in California and so kind to share this story with us. Kathy, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Yep.
Okay. Or I can call you Gorilla Girl if you want. Now, we're getting to the point of the story.
I won't answer you, but you can go ahead.
Okay. I got to listen. I can tease you a little bit. Okay. Yeah.
A little bit.
I've had my own adventures, too. Let me tell you. I ran with the bulls. And I would have loved to spend some time with the circus or the carnival or something like that. I've always wanted to get one of those booths down at Seaside Heights where they throw the darts at the balloons or something like that. I'd love to do that.
Is that in New Jersey?
Yeah, down in Seaside Heights, New Jersey. I would love to do that. I always wanted, my whole life growing up on the East Coast, to one summer get one of those booths and just, step right up.
It's fun.
I know,
it's fun.
yeah.
You just live in a different world.
Yeah, especially back in the 70s or 80s when it was actually fun.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, now it's...
We traveled in it was like a rinky-dink show. It wasn't anything big. And they had what they called the black lots, literally, and the white lots, literally.
Oh, really?
And the white lots always played on the concrete tops, and we always played the dirt tops, because the black lots were black folks in the South. And they segregated themselves. I don't know why. I don't care why. That's just what happened, But I ate some of the best barbecue and scared as many people as I possibly could.
Fascinating. Yeah, a whole different world back in those days. People don't realize.
Yes, sir. It was. It was a different world in the South.
Yeah. Now give us an idea. Now, just to recap the story. You were 17 years old. You give birth to this daughter. You were married, but you gave birth to this daughter. The mother put pressure on you. Catholic Charities put pressure on you. You gave up the daughter to adoption. She wound up in the home of this Dennis Bowman and Brenda Bowman. And it turns out later on, Dennis Bowman had some serious convictions here for attempted rape and kidnapping with a weapon, and this other thing, breaking and entering, and with a defaced shotgun, and got the charges dropped. Now, how did it come about that this young girl, Aundria Bowman, turns up missing?
Well, she had told her teacher that she was being molested, and I can only think from his background, sexually molested. That teacher got in touch with the truant officer for both schools in Holland and Hamilton. In turn, that truant officer got in touch with a social worker, and they went out to the Bowmans. And they said, look here, your daughter's saying XYZ about you. And the story the Bowmans gave these people, now Alexis wasn't there, but the Bowmans were interviewed together, right, was that she was angry and basically acting out because she'd found out she was adopted. He denied, of course, molesting her, and I don't know why, but they sent her back without checking who he was and that he was on parole for a sexual crime, and that he had gotten 10 years for this crime because he pulled a gun on a teenage girl and shot at her. And so, that was overlooked completely for 20 years. even when he he reoffended in 1998, and he wrote a plea letter to the judge, and the plea